Hello, everyone. It's Grace Pedota from the Canadian Securities Exchange, and welcoming you to our weekly Tech Tuesday virtual session. This week, we will be highlighting the best technology companies that have presented this past summer. Before I introduce our moderator today, I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, CSE TV on YouTube, the Canadian Securities Exchange Forum, for conversations with business leaders and entrepreneurs, and I have provided the link to CSE TV in the top right corner in the chat box for you to subscribe. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Mark Francis.
Thank you very much, Grace, and to everyone online for joining us live today, as with every Tuesday, starting 15 minutes after market close, typically with 3 private companies at various stages from North America and abroad. Next week, October 6th, you will get Barrington with 2 CSE listed tech companies. Now, today we're doing it a little differently. We won't have Q&A because we have Best of Summer, the 4 companies from the 18 that presented over 6 weeks in July and August. I think most of you know our objective in running Tech Tuesdays is twofold: to help the technology companies with increasing traction to gain relevant visibility, and to help capital markets players by introducing interesting companies, focusing on the technology and the commercial traction. For you as attendees, we do ask that you share ideas and your feedback with our presenters, including leads, possibly funding after due diligence, referral of someone with unique applicable expertise, or maybe even a potential strategic relationship. You can find their contact information in the chat board, and please don't treat our presenting companies as marketing targets for services. A couple of housekeeping matters. You will note a red Reconnect tab at the top of your screen. If you lose audio, just click it and you will be reconnected. In the event that there are technical problems, we may hit the restart, in which case there's no action required by you, as the system will automatically reconnect everyone. As we won't be doing a Q&A session this time, we will allow each speaker 8 minutes. And at the very end, you're welcome to stay. We are going to do a special executive summary or elevator pitch session, 1 minute per presenter, which will be edited separately. Note our disclaimer. This presentation is for information only and is not a solicitation to make an investment in either shares or debt, or to buy or sell stock. CSE and Mark Francis, as session host, i.e. yours truly, make no representation about any of these companies, and if you are interested in the investor pitch, please connect with the companies directly in order to get detailed information. Today, when you see my face appear, the company will have 15 seconds to wrap up. And as presenters, the 4 that we chose: Rita Hansen, CEO of Onboard Dynamics, nominated by the Portland Seed Fund; Caitlin Cameron, CEO and founder of OtoNexus, nominated by Keiretsu Forum; David Dzisiak, CEO of Botaneco, nominated by MLT Aikens; and Brandon Bendis, CEO of Woven, nominated by Jolene Anderson, Keiretsu Boise. So leading us off today, Rita Hansen. Rita is an industrial engineer by training and has over 30 years of executive and technical management experience in a diverse range of industries. Since 2006, she has specialized in startup and early phase environments, emphasizing opportunities in the energy arena. She has had senior roles relating to product innovations at Agilix, Apex Construction Systems, and BLT Technologies, and also worked at Oregon Steel Mills and Tektronix. So we've definitely got an engineer with us. Rita, on your way.
Thank you, Mark. I'm going to now share my screen and hope that everything comes up nicely. And I really want to thank you and the entire CSE team for inviting me back to present today as part of the Best of Summer 2020 series. My name is Rita Hansen. I am the CEO and co-founder of Onboard Dynamics, and we are based here in Bend, Oregon. So we are a company that is helping our customers receive economic value and reduce emissions, all at a scale that meets their previously underserved applications. And we're doing this through transportation refueling with alternative fuels and through direct methane mitigation applications associated with the 2 largest sources of methane. So what do? In order to move and use natural gas, it needs to be either compressed or liquefied, CNG or LNG. So our technology puts the C in CNG, compressed natural gas, whether it is conventional geologic based or better yet from a renewable source. So we have developed this unique, intelligent, patent pending, cost effective compression solution allowing a low pressure natural gas source to be compressed up to 3,600 psi, all integrated within an engine platform. And our first product to market, shown here on the left, is the GoFlow CNG 80 natural gas compressor, which we launched in late 2018. Our newest product is called the GoFill Refueler. It's on the right, and it is a standalone trailer that incorporates a dryer and a dispensing system for refueling up to 4 vehicles at the same time. So this was a product totally driven by customer demand. And when the GoFill is packaged with the GoFlow, it becomes a complete natural gas vehicle refueling station, all without electricity and mobile if required. So just a little more on the technology. So there's 4 stages of compression that are being performed on one side of the engine and is being powered by natural gas via the other side of the engine. As I mentioned, it compresses up to 3,600 psi, and its flow rate is 80 to 100 SCFM, or 100 MCF per day. So I used to have a slide here that listed all of the potential applications for our technology. So it's pretty exciting for me to now show actual pictures of our technology in the field performing those applications, such as school bus refueling, supplementing CNG capacity, refueling from a tube trailer, backing up CNG stations, performing pipeline operations, performing pipeline evacuation even of natural gas so that it's not being flared. And our latest deployment is performing CNG refueling of a Hyliion CNG EV hybrid with our GoFill GoFlow package. This is in partnership with Northwest Natural here in Portland, Oregon. So I don't have time to highlight some of my favorite customers, but I'm going to focus on the one on the left, which is an independent waste hauler in Southern California within the South Coast Air Quality Management District. Since refueling with our system in his own fleet yard, this customer saves $1,000 US per truck per month in fuel costs alone. And every day he's now responsible for reducing 10 metric tons of CO2 equivalents of greenhouse gas emissions, which is pretty significant. We make money today largely through direct unit sales and project installations, but we are also recognizing recurring revenue and higher margin streams such as leasing, compression as a service, service and support contracts, and cloud-based data management offerings, which are all based on the back-end data collection capabilities we have built into the product. So we've generated over 1.6 million in revenues with a handful of customers, about 8 customers in both fleet refueling and natural gas utilities since our product launch in late 2018. We have a really healthy sales pipeline right now, and the funnel includes opportunities across the spectrum of industries. We're now refining and expanding our core GoFlow compressor platform in several ways, and we have new products, as I just mentioned, the GoFill Refueler, but we also are working on a pipeline evacuation unit tailored specifically to utilities for their distribution operations. And we are now working to advance our platform to add cleaning and conditioning capabilities on the front end. And this will enable the capture of natural gas from sources such as agricultural waste and also from stranded flared gas associated at wellhead sites. So we're going after renewable natural gas and flared stranded gas will bring us many opportunities where that's important and will open up even larger markets beyond natural gas refueling and utility operations where we're currently deployed today. If I could ask everybody to mute, that would be great. Since I hear some background noise. But anyway, we wanted to be able to expand from where we're currently deployed into where we want to be going with larger market opportunities. So we have a technology platform that solves a methane emissions problem that didn't exist essentially 10 years ago, especially for remote, smaller, and modular applications, which you can see populated on this map of US and Canada and Mexico. This proposed solution that I've just been talking about, which incorporates cleaning and conditioning on the front end, will actually come at a flexible scale, just like our core compressor. It will also be electricity and diesel free, just like our core compressor. It will be mobile and self-contained, just like our core compressor. And it will also be cost effective at 20 to 30% less than current solutions that are out there. So we have been really focused here in the US on our go-to-market strategy, especially increasing adoption of natural gas as a transportation fuel and supporting utility operations. But I'm really excited to announce that we're delivering our first unit into Canada by the end of October through our contract with Natural Resources Canada. So we are just now putting all the, dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the whole CSA certification process, which is what NRCan funded us to do. We are a seasoned veteran management team with business and technology expertise who've really demonstrated the ability to successfully execute. And our board of directors and our advisory board bring relevant industry experience to help us position our company for the next stage of growth. So we have been very fortunate in our ability to leverage a lot of non-dilutive funding to date to get a product launched into the marketplace. And we had closed our note earlier this year, and we were embarking on our Series A raise in February when essentially the perfect storm hit of the pandemic and also the Saudi-Russia oil price wars, as you all know. So I have actually been on the fundraising trail since we decided to reopen our note. And if anyone is interested, please do come and reach out for me, reach out to speak with me about that. So in closing, I just want to say we have the team, we have the current technology to compress natural gas in a unique patent-pending, cost-effective way without using electricity, and it's all at an underserved scale that needs this application, needs this technology. We would really like you to engage with us for our next success, and I'm going to turn it back over to Mark. Thank you.
Thank you. Good, Rita. And now, Caitlin Cameron. Ms. Cameron is a highly accomplished senior executive with 30 years cross-industry expertise in the life sciences, biotech, technology, and IT industries. She is a specialist in building high-performing startup companies, including having been CEO of Presage Biosciences and Cellnetics Pathology. I hope I've said those right, Caitlin. I know you've led a number of companies, and we're very pleased to have you back.
Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's great to be back. It's really an honor to be here for the best of the summer. I am Caitlin Cameron. I'm Chair and CEO of OtoNexus Medical Technologies, and I'm here to talk to you about something relatively simple, and that is middle ear infections in children. Middle ear infections are absolutely ubiquitous. Very nearly every child will suffer at least one middle ear infection severe enough to have to see the doctor. The vast majority of those will suffer repeat infections, up to a dozen or more in childhood. I'm sure that you think about it, you yourself maybe, or many people you know have had a middle ear infection. So OtoNexus has now developed a breakthrough medical device for the accurate diagnosis of middle ear infections in kids, also in adults, so it's primarily a childhood problem. And in particular, we are the only technology in the world that can differentiate a viral from a bacterial infection inside the middle ear, and therefore accurately determine whether or not to prescribe an antibiotic. So we're all about minimizing unneeded antibiotics in kids, but we also are in a very special place to be able to both dramatically improve patient outcomes and at the same time significantly reduce the cost of care. If you're familiar with the healthcare space, typically you get one or the other. You very rarely get both. We not only have both, but we also have the ability to greatly reduce unneeded antibiotics in kids. So middle ear infections are called otitis media. It is a massive unmet medical need. It's absolutely ubiquitous. It is the #1 reason for antibiotics in kids. It's also the #1 reason for surgery in kids and the #1 reason for hearing loss in kids. It's estimated to cost us up to $15 billion a year. Every year here in the United States, it's responsible for more than 30 million pediatric doctor visits every year in the United States alone. This is a worldwide problem. Take those numbers times the world. You can see that this is absolutely huge. So this is a problem that affects millions and it costs billions. And despite its cost and despite its ubiquity, clinical studies show that doctors get it wrong 50% of the time, particularly in the key differentiation of that viral versus bacterial infection, because there's just no technology, no tool today that can differentiate viral from bacterial inside the middle ear. So CDC estimates here that we prescribe antibiotics 85% of the time and should prescribe them just 15% or so of the time. That is a huge gap. We believe that we can reduce antibiotics for this number one reason for antibiotics in kids by 50%, simply by instantly giving the pediatrician the data they need in order to determine the proper course of treatment. So how do we do this? This technology is our own special, very unique technology invented by us and very heavily patented. It looks like somehow part of this slide is missing, but I'll talk you through it. So what you see here is basically an otoscope. It's an ultrasound otoscope. It goes in the ear just like the otoscope they use today. And if you look at this tip over here on the left, this clear version held in this hand here, you can see this tiny, tiny little ultrasound transducer up in the tip. This is our own invention, heavily patented. And it provides a very nice recurring revenue stream. Just like the tool today, one tip per patient, throw it away. This is one tip per patient, throw it away, provides a beautiful recurring revenue stream for our company. This absolutely unique ultrasound technology, again, invented by us, is special because if you think about it, this air coupling, if you go in for an ultrasound today, they will put gel on your skin. It's called gel coupling. But if you think about it, you do not want to put gel inside of a child's ear, much less dig it back out when you were done. So we knew we had to do something completely different. So we invented a brand new technology that works through air. No pressurization, no pain. In less than 2 seconds, the physician is given the definitive data required for the accurate diagnosis of a middle ear infection. As you can see here on the left, it has a beautiful visual of the eardrum. This is a high resolution image. This is your ultrasound answer. You can take pictures, you can take video, you can take an ultrasound reading. So our OtoNexus otoscope instantly identifies 4 disease states of no infection, viral infection, bacterial infection, and glue ear. It is very highly accurate, and most importantly, it fits perfectly into the pediatrician's existing routine. No change in technique, no training required. You just pick it up and use it. If you can use an otoscope, you can use this device. Importantly, it's not just one device. This is the device that I'm talking about here, is our device designed for pediatricians. And as you can see here, it's designed to look and feel exactly like the tool that they use today. If you can use an otoscope, you can use our device. It's simple, easy, elegant, and it gives them everything they want, nothing they don't. Behind that comes an advanced model, obviously a more expensive model designed for specialists such as ENTs. It has more bells and whistles, and this is also where you can get into big data, where you can gather the depersonalized data off of every one of these devices, throw it up into the cloud, and apply artificial intelligence. A home use model. Think about how huge the market is for a home use model for accurately determining middle ear infections. A world model for developing nations, and a veterinary model, because it turns out cats and dogs get middle ear infections too. In addition, we've identified about 20 different medical devices that can be created with our completely unique, heavily patented ultrasound technology. For example, we can very quickly and easily build another better, cheaper, kinder, easier to use glaucoma test. We've also identified applications in industrial manufacturing and also in food production, which of course would be out-licensing opportunities. We have a very strong intellectual patent portfolio. We have 7 patents issued, 3 of those just in the last couple of months. We think we'll end up right around 30 patents total in the end. And that is a very, very strong patent portfolio. Also, very importantly, here in the United States, we have a reimbursement code, a CPT code that can be used from day one for the pediatrician to be reimbursed for the use of our device. That's important because they don't get reimbursed today for this device. This otoscopy is just included as part of the office visit. So they have a personal income as well as a better patient care incentive to use our device. And we have a very straightforward, very easy FDA path. We've already been through the FDA pre-submission process. We have in writing from the FDA, we're just a 510K. No clinical studies will be required for the use of the device. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going through these many honors and awards here. It's been very busy with lots of honors and awards. And I think that what's happening here is as we're getting ready to go to market, we're seeking go to market money. What these organizations are doing, these are various investor organizations and other organizations that are seeing this huge investment opportunity and also the tremendous good that we can do in the world and are honoring that potential. In addition, I personally was just incredibly honored to have the Puget Sound Business Journal select me as their Life Sciences Executive of the Year. What an honor to stand on that stage with the luminaries of my industry. And some of you may know the Red Herring Venture Capital Journal. We are a finalist by invitation only, already passed the first 2 rounds, looking forward to the final round later this year. So we're all about the children's hospitals here in the United States. This is to whom we will sell. There's about 240 children's hospitals in the United States. And each one of these children's hospitals, it's not so much the hospital itself, but it's also all of the primary care practices that are associated with those hospitals. Each one of these hospitals has somewhere between 10 and 40 pediatric clinics associated with the hospital that are part of the hospital system. And it's those pediatric clinics that is the focus. And so that is to whom we will sell. Children's of Minnesota is a huge children's hospital system, obviously in Minnesota. But in addition, very specially, it's one of the very few children's hospitals that also has an investment fund. And after 9 months of due diligence, Children's of Minnesota has made a direct equity investment in our company at the maximum amount that is allowed by their charter. So this is really huge because this is our customer, a direct equity investment from our customer. But for us, the best part of it is that they made it a requirement of that investment that they be first. So this one huge hospital system will already take up our full first year's worth of production. And then behind them, we have 2 other children's hospitals already lined up. We already have 18 months to 2 years worth of revenue already lined up before we even get into market. So we're building this company to sell it. Our expectation is that we will enter market just long enough to prove to market and then exit to one of these big medical device manufacturers. I will tell you that we're already talking with, I'll call it 5 of the top 5. They are very interested. They're interested in the recurring revenue stream. They're interested in the fact that this is green space because nobody can do what we can do. So therefore, they see a huge worldwide revenue opportunity, doesn't cannibalize anything that they do today. And this is a market that they're very, very interested in. So we are seeking go-to-market money. This is a very special place because really we're so late in the development at this point that the big risks are behind us. We have FDA clearance ahead of us and a nice bump in valuation with that FDA clearance. This is a very high reward, very low risk opportunity with a recurring revenue stream and a very, very experienced team. We're seeking go-to-market money. I hope you'll join us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Kate. And now our penultimate presenter, David Dzisiak. David enjoyed a 38 career with Dow AgroSciences Corteva, where in his last role, he was the business leader for the North American Grains and Oils Unit, which was responsible for the business strategy and commercialization of a portfolio of novel oilseed traits targeted to the food and feed industry. David served on the board and is chair of the Canola Council of Canada and is currently on the board of Protein Industries Canada. David?
Hey, thank you, Mark, and it's great to have been welcomed back. A chance to talk about Botaneco. And really what we're about is really taking a look at oilseed processing, production of proteins and healthier oil products, and really bringing innovation and disruption into that category. So the world's demand for food is expanding, the world's demand for feed is expanding, diet patterns are changing, and we believe we've got a really innovative set of co-products that we can extract from oilseed crops that really can take these oilseeds into new, higher value markets and really help support the expansion of our ag food economy, benefit people, and even help the planet. So what we do is really take a look at the process of oilseed crushing. And so today, we've got large companies like ADM, Bunge, Richardson, Cargill, and they're really focused on a crop like canola and really extracting out the vegetable oil, pulling out canola oil. And to do that, they crush the seed, they heat it, they use hexane to really maximize the extraction percentage that they can get out of the seed. But what that process does is it destroys a number of valuable natural products that exist inside the oil seed. So really, they're taking that seed that's full of proteins and full of oils and really focused only on the oil extraction, and that leaves behind a kind of a low-value feed meal, which is only really useful in dairy cattle, and they really can't produce new co-products for some of the fast, high-growing markets that are expanding in the food and feed world. So what we do today is that we can take high oil crops like canola, sunflower, hemp, safflower, and what we have is a very novel processing approach. And so we really are a platform and manufacturing company. And we can take this novel aqueous-based processing platform and apply that to these 4 main oilseed crops, with our main focus being on canola, given the size and the scale of that opportunity. And so what our process does is that we really take the seed apart. We are focused around an aqueous process, and that lets us really disassemble the seed. And so we can pull out these important products that sit inside the seed in their natural state. So instead of producing liquid oil, we produce something called an oleosome, which is the way that the seed stores the oil inside of its matrix. And this oleosome has got really unique function. It delivers the healthy lipids, but also is a powerful natural emulsifier. And that brings great function into personal care products, but also into many food products. If you take a look at plant-based foods that are rapidly growing today, if it's plant-based, it really can't bring fat into it. And fat is an important part of making a burger taste good. It's an important part of a dairy product. And so what we can do is deliver healthy fats and deliver the function of the oleosome. Also, what we can do is make protein concentrates, and that takes us into high-value markets like aquaculture. We can also make protein isolates. And we're very familiar with the story of like Beyond Meat or the Impossible Burger, taking a look at what's happening with the pea processing industry across North America. And with what we do, it gives us the opportunity to really take canola into that market and pull out really high-value co-products out of that crop. An example of what we do would be comparing ourselves to a conventional crush plant. So if you imagine a 300,000 ton a year canola crush plant, and on a conventional form, that plant would generate maybe $126 million of revenue, but at a less than a 5% gross margin. And because we take the seed apart and make these novel co-products around oleosomes, protein isolates, protein concentrates, and a feed meal, we generate about 4 times the revenue. So out of our process, we can take that same 300,000 tons of seed, and instead of it being $126 million of revenue, we can turn it into over $400 million of revenue at over 45% of gross margin. So again, we're taking this novel manufacturing process, taking our technology platform. We can make novel co-products out of existing oil seeds. These co-products have got higher price points. They fit into higher value, faster growing markets, and that generates superior gross margins and superior EBITDA for our organization. So today we have a manufacturing facility here in Calgary that runs at about 2,000 tons a day. And from this plant, we've greatly de-risked the manufacturing process. It's a highly automated facility, and it really proves out our manufacturing approach. And from this facility here today, we're focused around safflower and hemp, which are lower volume oilseed crops. But we can pull the oleosomes out of those crops, and these sell into high-value personal care markets. And so from this facility here in Calgary today, we can generate, we believe, over $50 million of revenue. We have a commercial team based in Lambertville, New Jersey, and they really do demand creation and customer support across the personal care industry across the U.S. marketplace. And so we've got over 50 in-flight projects with some of the leading personal care companies today in the sun care and in the topical skin hydration categories. So from this proven platform that we operate with today, we can take it and scale it. And then we can go into high volume crops like canola and sunflower. We can produce these oleosomes and plant proteins, and that takes us into very large markets like food and into aquaculture feed. We also were a recipient of the first co-investment from Protein Industries Canada. We received a $4 million co-investment with them, and that's an important part of driving our R&D and innovation platform forward. We rely a lot on intellectual property. We've done a good job of protecting our process with trade secrets and know-how. We've also done an important piece of work around filing for our novel product compositions, and that lets us protect the end-use product irrespective of how that product was actually made. So today, we believe that Botaneco really represents a transformational opportunity in processing oilseed crops. We can access new and high-value markets around the world, whether it be high-growth aquaculture, plant-based foods, or into high-value personal care products. And so we believe we've got a really novel technology that can really create a new adjacent space to the existing oilseed industry here in Canada. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, David. You were quick at the close there. Well done. And taking us home, Brandon Bendis. And I have to tell everyone that I made a mistake, and that's why Brandon is working from his August presentation instead of the updated deck. So that one's on me, but Brandon does a great job. So he is a business executive who combines operating and transactional expertise to build and grow businesses, and drives transactions that drive inorganic growth to position companies for eventual exit. His experience spans business life cycle stages and geographies around the world. Woven Orthopedics is his latest venture after having 5 exits over the last 10 years, all in medical. Glad to have you with us, Brandon.
Thanks, Mark. And you're too kind to go out and already tell everybody the August thing. We're going to see if anybody picked it up, but we can go from here and see what happens. So hello, everybody. Thank you for having me back. Brandon Bendy's, like Mark said, talking to you today about Woven Orthopedic Technologies, which really our business is all about. And Mark, I'm looking up here. It's not actually letting me advance anything. It allows me to stop the presentation. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. Here to talk to you about Woven Orthopedic Technologies. This is the latest venture that I'm a part of, and what we do is we develop solutions that help surgeons tailor treatments to unique patient profiles. This is pretty similar to what Caitlin over at OtoNexus was saying in terms of keeping things simple and taking things that are right in front of our faces, real issues that we've had before that might not be considered so major, but when you look at them, there's a big opportunity to help a lot of people here. And that's kind of what we've done in the orthopedic domain, specifically with our first technology here, which is the Augment Implant Enhancement System, which is designed to enhance fixation in orthopedic surgery. And to give you a quick overview of what exactly we do is orthopedic surgeons use plates and screws to treat patients in orthopedic surgery. There are over 279 different types of procedures in orthopedics that use plates and screws, and the underlying element for successful outcomes is strong fixation between screws and bone. So interestingly enough, surgeons face a challenge all the time that no one really talks about because they've always faced it. And that is achieving good fixation between their screws and bone, especially when you're dealing with patients that have compromised fixation scenarios. Today, surgeons employ a variety of techniques. You're looking at a few of them here. Unfortunately, all of these are costly, create additional risks. They're not always applicable. They all work. They just all don't work as well as we want them to. In fact, if you look across the board at complication and revision rates for every single part of the anatomy, whether it's the shoulder, the hip, the knee, the spine, the arm, the leg, the ankle, the average is that 1 in 4 of these patients is going to have to go back for some sort of a revision process. That is an enormous number. It's something the industry has just dealt with because it's always been the case. It's typically been known to be a patient anatomy issue, and this is just something we handle. So interestingly enough, this is also a challenge, right? Enhancing fixation that we deal with at home all the time. If you're trying to mount a piece of furniture into your wall, you're using screws. Now, the interesting part is if you can't get the fixation that you are hoping for, you walk into a Home Depot, some sort of a hardware store, and you buy something called a wall anchor or a wall plug. We're all familiar with this, I'm sure. Well, coincidentally, that didn't exist in orthopedics. So we kept it simple and we said, look, plates, bone, plates, wall, screws, similar thing. We created an Augment Implant Enhancement System that functions almost exactly like a wall anchor. It only does so for human bone. The interesting part is in orthopedics or in humans, right? There are a lot of different scenarios that will impact how good your fixation can be. These are just a plethora of types of patients and risk scenarios that are at heightened risk for challenges with fixation, right? Patients with Parkinson's that have tremors, patients who have been treated for cancer that have soft bone from chemotherapy, osteoporotic patients, patients who have been on PPIs, steroid use for chronic illnesses that decrease healing opportunities. All of these are areas where surgeons need to enhance fixation, and we can help them do it. Our technology applies across generally any type of indication that uses screws to enhance, to create fixation. spine, dental, veterinary, small bone, reconstruction, sports med. You're seeing it here. It's anywhere where screws are used. So far, we do have our European clearance under CE mark to sell in Europe. We also just this summer received our FDA clearance to begin selling in the United States. Our track record in Europe so far has been tremendous, which we're very lucky to have had last year in our first year of sales. It was really based on 5 things. It was based on a great technology. This works. The surgeons like it. It's simple to use. This takes 3 steps to implant. Like OtoNexus, the surgeons aren't changing anything in what they're doing already, so it makes the adoption that much more likely. We've had fantastic data. 100% success in every single time this has been implanted. Over 750 units, individual units, have been placed into patients. 0 complication rates thus far, 0 revisions. We have had a perfect score. Now, I don't think we can keep that up because no medical device can. Nothing is perfect. But that's a good testament to how well the device has been made to date. There's an immediate economic benefit. So we are substantially less costly than a lot of the other techniques that surgeons may employ right now. For example, a surgeon might use 90-90 plating. That means they set 2 plates perpendicular to one another on a bone to try to enhance fixation. That's an entirely new construct. More screws, more hardware. These are big costs, right? Using cement, using rescue screws, using expandable screws, using fenestrated screws with injectable cement. All of these add costs to a procedure. Our device is substantially less expensive and a great alternative that can do what needs to be done. Also, we've had a controlled market release. So we've made sure to get out ahead and find out exactly how surgeons are using this, how they like using it, ideal patient profiles, which enables us to be able to at least look up and say, okay, let's get out ahead of any issues that may arise. Let's train people appropriately. And it's done well thus far. Our implant, just so you can see how it works, it's very simple. 3 mechanisms of action. 1, it takes the pressure, the high pressure points at screw threads and distributes it evenly across a bone. 2 is it actually distributes load evenly, right? It doesn't just remove the high stress, it distributes it evenly. 3rd is it creates bony ingrowth or enables bony ingrowth between screws and bone to get better purchase and better fixation. Overall, our data, as I was mentioning, data is fantastic. Over 750 units implanted, all success so far. There are 3 elements that really stand out. 1, the device itself restores fixation where there is none. So if you had 0 fixation, you could just put a screw in, pull it out with your own hands. This will allow you to gain fixation in those scenarios. This also works to restore fixation to the ideal clinical scenario. That's actually better than a lot of these other techniques, which are just putting Band-Aids over a problem. And number 3 is, as you can see here on the right side, we get significant bony ingrowth, which leads to long-term efficacy for our product and maintaining the fixation. Here's some images of how easy it is to use, right? You cut it, you place it on an inserter, and you put it in the body. It's that simple. Surgeons are implanting this in under 2 minutes. We're really seeing under 60 seconds when you look in the OR. Our leadership team for the company, we hail from a variety of backgrounds. I myself have been a part of some larger named companies, working with Fortune 500 businesses. We have, well, our team at least, right? A lot of our other team members have come from Medtronic, Zimmer, J&J, DePuy, Stryker. These are the companies that are really creating medical device implants. So we've seen people create screws. We've seen people create plates. We've been on those development teams. And this is a group that has significant experience building businesses and then even exiting them. And I'll show you some of our mug shots, if you will, up here. This is myself on the left-hand side with our executive operating team, and then on the right-hand side, our board. For example, we have the former founder of K2M. We have the chief emeritus of HSS, which is Hospital for Special Surgery, a leading orthopedic institution. Won the Lifetime Achievement Award for them. It's Dr. Helfet. We have 2 individuals that have exited over 15 different businesses in the last 10 years. But overall, this team has created businesses, built them, sold them, exited them, and developed them over time. In summary, massive market potential here, very simple solution, 1 product to address numerous markets. It's easy to use. It's created immediate economic benefits. It's available in the European Union and the US. and the first year results show just how we've done so far. With that, thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, Brendan. And thank you to all our presenters, Rita Hansen of Onboard Dynamics, Caitlin Cameron, OtoNexus, David Dzisiak, Botaneco, and Brandon Bendis of Woven. Thank you for your time today, attendees. Go to the company websites and learn more about these companies. And if you have a lead for them, do connect. And next week, CSE Tech Tuesdays, we'll have 2 CSE listed tech companies along with Barrington Miller.
Thank you to everyone who joined our session today. And thank you to our presenters. When you have a moment, go to CSE TV on YouTube. I have provided the link in the chat, which should appear in the top right corner. This session, along with all of our other great content CSE publishes, will be on CSE TV. Make sure to tune in next Tuesday for a public company showcase. Thank you again for joining us.